Hi, and welcome to a new section of our course. In this section, we will make an application that is called the IP Location Finder. And while we make this application, we will learn how to use third-party APIs. Then we will learn how to use the URL session. Then we will learn how to use the URL session and the URL data task to fetch data from HTTP. And then we will use the decodable protocol to avoid parsing manually the JSON that comes from the API. Let's start with our first video, using data from third-party APIs. In this video, we will have an overview of the final project. Then we will look at the ipinfo.io response, how the JSON response looks like, and then we will start building the UI of the application. The main goal of this section is to learn how to consume a third-party JSON API, and we will learn this by creating this simple example that we have here visible on the screen. As you can see, this iPhone application shows us some information about my current location. So the name of the city, the name of the country, the postal code, and as well the flag of Germany. But we learned on the previous section how to obtain the GPS location from the user using directly the GPS antenna that is inside the iPhone. But for this application, we will use something different. It's possible to use the IP address of the user to get some information about this location. And this is completely different from a GPS location. So the accuracy of this method can be something like a walled city or a zip code. And it works, of course, better if you are connected to a landline. So that's not on 3G or LTE. By the way, this is just an excuse to consume third-party APIs. So let's start opening our browser and go to the address ipinfo.io/JSON. And you can see here this JSON response. And this JSON response contains a bunch of information about my current IP address. So it contains the city, the country, the GPS location, but this is not my real location. This is probably the location of one of the switches of my internet providers, and as well, of course, the IP address. So the goal of this section is to consume this API to create the application that we just saw before. So let's start creating the application. Let's kill the simulator, opening Xcode, and create a new project. Single view application is fine. Let's call this application Location Finder. Select Swift as a language, of course, and save this project in your desktop. Fine, let's start creating the UI of the application. So select the main.storyboard and drag a bunch of labels. We need 3 labels, 1, 2, 3, and 1 image view. This is the one where we will show the flag. So let's add some constraints to the label. So the first one, I want to have 10 pixel margin from the left and 10 pixel margin from the right, and as well I would say 50 margin from the top. 3 constraints are enough. And change the font to something bigger, like for example 40, and center the line it. And this will be the city. Then as well for this label, 10, let's make 30 pixel, center the line it. And this will be the country. As well for the last one, and center it, and this will be the postal code. Now for the image view, I would like to have a square image view where we can show the flag without any distortion. So press the Ctrl key on your keyboard and drag and drop from the image view into the image view itself, and select the width, and as well again height. Now we can go into the utility panel in the size inspector, and we can change this constraint to 200, and these 2 are the constraints for the size of the image view. We still need to find the position of this image view. So I will say let's keep pressing the Ctrl key on your keyboard and drag and drop from the image view to the label, and select center horizontally, and again vertical spacing. That's enough. So now we have our UI into the storyboard. We still need to connect the outlet to the code. So let's select the Instant Editor, select the view controller, and double check that the Instant Editor is showing the code related to this view controller. In this case, it's a view controller. It's selected automatically, so everything is fine. Press the Ctrl key on your keyboard and drag and drop from the storyboard into the code. And this will be city label. This will be country label. This will be postal code label. And this will be flag image view. Let's try to run the application now. Okay, the application is working as expected. But there is one last step. We need to import all the images that will be used for a flag. So let's select the asset here and then right click or control click, import. And I have on my desktop here a folder with all the flags as a PNG. Select all, then open. Now we have all the flags inside the application.